What's up, guys? Welcome back to Rule of 2 Review. My name is Rob, and today we're going to talk about Sonic and Sega. So I am a huge Sonic fan. I have been since back in the day. I'm old enough to have been playing the Sega Master System, and I had a Sega Genesis when that was brand new. So I, of course, do remember when Sonic the Hedgehog was a brand new character, came onto the gaming scene, was taking the world by storm, was all of a sudden this great competition for Mario, and, he really exemplified the best of that 90s console war between Sega and Nintendo and Mario and Sonic, and it was just a fantastic, wonderful time. You've heard me talk about it many times on Rule of 2 Review. The 16-bit generation and that console war was probably, in hindsight, my favorite console generation and my favorite period in gaming ever. It was just so fantastic. The nature of that console war was so pure and genuine, and I think that was aided by the fact that the mascots were so fantastic. And of course, Sonic the Hedgehog was the brand new Sega mascot. I love those old games. I'm a platformer fan in general. I think that Sonic's first 3 outings were fantastic. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is one of my probably 10 favorite games of all time. There's a couple other ones, sputtered throughout his history that are also really good. Of course, we know that Sonic has also had a pretty tumultuous history, especially the last several years, almost the last several decades. I mean, for a long time, going back to the, beginning of the Dreamcast days, in through the 6th generation with the GameCube, PS2, Xbox era, where all of his 3D outings really started to get crazy and kooky, and they really couldn't figure out what they wanted to do with him. And they've tried over and over again, Sega and Sonic team has, to make him work in a 3D setting, in a 3D platformer kind of world, and to very marginal success. Honestly, more failures than successes. Now, there have been a couple successes. Of course, as of late, Sonic Colors was fantastic. Sonic Generations was fantastic. Sonic Lost World is pretty darn good. Now, you get into other things like Sonic Unleashed, Sonic and the Black Knight, Sonic 06, which was just an unmitigated disaster. Of course, the recently released Sonic Boom. There's another, Sonic Heroes, which was actually okay. And you've just got Sonic up and down and all over the place, And there actually were something that a lot of people don't really seem to talk about anymore. There were the Sonic Advance. There was a couple Sonic games released on the Game Boy Advance and the DS that were, I can't remember what those were called. I think they might have just been Sonic Advance, like 1, 2, and 3 and whatnot. They were awesome. They did some amazing things. They were old school, just 2D Sonic side-scrolling, and they were exactly what I think Sonic still should be. And people don't really talk about them when they discuss Sonic nowadays, because the very popular common conversation revolving around Sonic the Hedgehog today is, Sonic is dead, he needs to die, let him go, he sucked for years, yada, yada, yada. Now, obviously, when you look at the, long list of games that are terrible that I just, listed off, you could sort of see where they're coming from. There is a precedence to say that Sonic has really struggled for sure. But I also don't think that is the case. I don't think he's as dead as people want to think he is. And when you turn to today's news that actually sparked me to make this video, I feel like that kind of exemplifies how not dead he really is. So what I'm talking about is that a producer from Sega and Sonic team recently came out just a couple of days ago and made a public statement that Sonic is not dead on the consoles. And this was great news. This was something that, honestly, I really hadn't even thought was going to be a thing. I didn't really have an inkling that he was maybe going to be dead on consoles, but there is a new Sonic Runner game coming out for mobile apps pretty soon, and some people are thinking that in lieu of the recent disaster that was Sonic Boom, and the fact that the next outing that they're pumping and advertising for pretty heavily is just a, a mobile app Sonic Runner kind of like, bite-sized little gaming experience, that people thought maybe Sonic will be going away on consoles and just become that kind of experience going forward. I would cry tears of sadness like you would never understand if that's actually what was going to happen. But it was really nice to hear them come out and basically say, no, that's not what's happening. This Sonic Runner game is just the next game that we're promoting. It's just another kind of mobile experience that we've been developing. But don't worry, Sonic is not dead on consoles. There's plans for him in the future. This is wonderful news because, like I said, I really don't think that Sonic is dead. I know that Sonic Boom was terrible, and it was the most recent Sonic game released, but okay, so I've made this case a couple times. I even listed these games just a minute ago. When you look at Sonic's last 4 outings, on consoles. Like I said, 3 of those 4 were really good games. Yes, Sonic Boom was awful, but Sonic Generations is great, and it was a great throwback to some of the older fundamentals of Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic Colors is arguably one of the best Sonic games in the last 10 or 15 years, and Sonic Lost World, which was just released in 2013 on the Wii U, was pretty damned great. It wasn't, like, great. There's a lot of things that didn't do well, and it was reviewed okay, but at the end of the day, it was also reviewed pretty positively. I think on Metacritic, it's like a 75 or a 79. That's not too bad, and for myself as a Sonic fan, I actually think it's really good. I enjoyed that game. I've played it a lot. I've gotten all the DLC. I think it's all pretty fantastic, and they did a lot of right things that they could improve upon going forward. Granted, the success with Sonic Lost World that I saw, at least, is what had me really pumped for Sonic Boom, because I wasn't really, paying attention to the fact that it wasn't really Sonic Team working on Sonic Boom. It was Big Red Button, and we all know that with the mass exodus and everything going on there, that it all fell apart right before it released, so that's too bad. But Sonic Lost World had a lot of elements that were just like a good Sonic game. Like Sonic the Hedgehog is meant to be. It's beautiful. The engine runs very smoothly. There's a lot of creativity there. The control is okay. It's not perfect, and sometimes it gets you in a lot of trouble, which is usually the case with the 3D Sonic games, but it's pretty good. And again, Colors and Generations, man, were really good games. So it's not like Sonic Boom comes out and this game sucks and it's like, wow, Sonic's just sucked forever and it's time to let him die. I just personally don't see it that way. Maybe you do. A lot of people obviously do. Like I said, it's a very common, popular conversation when you're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog, and I get it because so many other games the last several years and generations have been bad. But honestly, I think he's been on the upswing until Sonic Boom came out, and Sonic Boom kind of, to me, has a feel of a unique scenario. There's a lot of extenuating circumstances with how that game panned out, how people joined the team then left the team, and the simple fact that it wasn't Sonic Team working on it, was this other new studio. I mean, if the real Sonic Team came back and they really dedicated and built off of what Colors and Lost World were trying to do, I guarantee you the next Sonic game, no matter what platform it came out for, would be pretty good. It has a chance to be great again. So it's nice to know that Sega confirmed, what people were worried about, that Sonic is not dead on consoles. That's great. Obviously, Sonic's 3-console contract with Nintendo is over, so who knows what's going to happen going forward. A lot of people's talk about Sonic being exclusive to Nintendo, or even Sonic just Nintendo buying Sonic or what have you. And I think those things would be great. Obviously, I think Sonic would work the best on Nintendo's platforms and on the Wii U specifically. But honestly, it could still work on any system. It could work as a multi-platform release that comes out for all 3 consoles. There's obviously still a lot of potential with the 3DS to make a bunch of great, unique, beautiful-looking 2D, I should say side-scrolling Sonic games on the 3DS. I mean, there's a lot of potential. Sonic is still ripe for the picking, I think. I believe there's enough creativity and enough to do with Sonic, and we could go back to some of the more old-school fundamentals and still make great Sonic games. It shouldn't be dead on consoles. I'm glad to hear Sega confirm this, and as a Sonic super fan, still to this day, this news made me very happy, and I'm ready for whatever awaits Sonic in the future. Alright, and that's it. Relatively quick news video for me today about Sonic, one of my favorite characters. I definitely want to hear what you guys have to say about this news. Do you think Sonic should be dead? Do you feel like this was good news that Sega confirmed, hey, he's not dead on consoles, there are plans for him in the future? Like I said, I'm really excited. What do you guys think? Thank you for tuning in to Rule of 2 Review. Please feel free to subscribe, rate, and comment. Share your thoughts about the video below. Like I said, follow the links below to the Facebook page and the Twitter, both of which I do run. And thank you for tuning in. I will catch you guys on another video for Rule of 2 Review.